literally just turned the camera off and straight away it's gone round, and this is a better one.
What do you think about my draw?
I think you've drawn okay. You've got some very good anglers either side of you, which is added light to your, you've got Jake Dye on your left, then Jamie Harrison on his left, Dave Clarkson on your right, Steve Cook on his right. So I think you've got a really tough job on your hands today. So your skills.
And you.
All your skills are going to be required, but it's a decent area, Zsolt. I think it is. Wind's blowing this way. Sometimes in this zone, peg 31, 32, first couple of pegs are amazing. Your set zone is 31 to 50. But this top of the ramp area here is an area that gets pleasure fished, and I think that generally speaking, there's a few fish held in this area. So we'll discuss tactics in a minute. I think we're going to keep it nice and straightforward.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Maybe like 2 meters and 5 meters for you, and then we'll see what we're going to do. I think it's going to be really tough because in the last couple of weeks the weights have dropped, and I've noticed that the venue's coloured, the canal's really coloured as we drove in, and it's warm. So what tends to happen is the fish, much more than people think, migrate in and out of this reservoir all the time. And when the weights begin to drop, and you can see the weights dropping, I think that's because the fish have migrated out. Now, in the last few weeks, it's been really good. And then, like I would say, 2 weeks of match results I've kept an eye on, they've dropped right off, and the weather's not been any different, and that generally means that the fish are drifting out. So it's not a bagging match. We need to set ourselves up for a few opportunities, and we need to take them. So that's what we're going to do today, and we'll try and get your timings right. I think that'll be the key. So look, come on, get your nice shiny gear and get it set up. You've got more new gear than anyone, certainly me.
I'll give you the phone because it's not too technical as the camera for you, Lee.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. I think I can manage it. It's like a promotion.
Groundbait.
Yeah, so listen, Groundbait, I've asked you to bring F1 green and Thatcher's. You put Thatcher's green, which is great. Thatcher's green is a really good groundbait, so I'm very happy with that. Now, what you've got to remember at Southfield is, chances are you might be mixing your groundbait really with a lot of worms at times.
So we need to mix it very dry.
Yeah, very dry. Literally all we're doing is giving it a little sample. Sorry, just getting bitten all over. So what I want you to do is, I'd like 3/4 of F1 green and just 1/4 of Thatcher's, because at the moment the fishing's hard. We don't need to go really strong with our fish meal, and Thatcher's is obviously strong, and F1 green is fantastic. So
how much groundbait do we need?
You don't need a lot, like literally not even half a bag, I wouldn't have said. That's enough, yeah. And then about 1/4 of Thatcher's. Obviously you've measured this precisely, yes, as I can see. The measuring is great. So it looks to me like we've got about 3/4 of Thatcher's and 1/4 of F1 green.
More.
All right.
F1 green just in case.
Right, okay. Well measured out there. Now, just literally all we're doing is dampening it up. Don't forget though that these ground baits take on a lot of water, so you can basically mix this what I would say normal. So if you just put some water in here and mix it up as a normal ground bait, it doesn't have to be bone dry, just because it'll dry right out. Yeah, that's great, yeah, because that's going to dry right out. So just give that a little push through your maggot riddle. Sure, I just said that would be great, perfect. Didn't need to add any more, but okay, yeah, can see how this is going to go. So yeah, best thing to do now is put it on your maggot riddle, because your maggot riddle is going to allow your effectively your all your water that's in your mix just to give
Which
it a
one you
breakdown.
identify
Maggot,
as a maggot?
not maggot is the blue one, mate. So yeah, that's right. So all we're trying to do is basically spread that water out, and because we haven't used a drill, you can just, yeah. Best thing to do is push it all through in one go, yeah. Right, let me have a feel. So, yeah, that's great. So this is like how probably when we end up fishing, it'll end up being, but it's going to dry right out. So all we're doing is just giving the groundbait a chance to take some water in for now. And the thatches just makes it a little bit stickier, so you can see there it'll keep its shape a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a stronger fish meal. It's a lovely mix, that is, particularly for somewhere like here. And I've been using, it depends how it goes. Sometimes there's a load of big bream in, and we were trying to avoid little fish, and then I go like 50-50 thatchers and F1 green.
Do you think they're going to catch a bream today?
I think there's a great chance that you'll catch a fish, Zsolt, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you've got a great...
I never caught a fish short here in Southfield.
Oh, well, today's your day, isn't it? I mean, the conditions don't look particularly good for it, but we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Right, groundbait mixed up.
I love that you are so positive.
I am positive. Just while you're sorting the groundbait, I'm going to talk about bait as well, because when I've just had a reconfigure of Zsolt's bait. You know, he's not got a massive side tray, and he had great big tubs full of bait. So I know it's going to look dark at the moment, so I'm just going to push this fancy hood down so we can have a look. So I've made him get his kilo bag of worms, wash them off, so you can just see all the bits coming to the top. He's going to be using these for hook bait, he's going to be using these to potentially feed. I always bring a kilo, and then you've got enough, then choose what you want to do. You know, you rarely feed that many. Then so-called live maggots and pinkies, I've made him mix them together because they're only a hook bait. Again, he just needs a little tub. Obviously he's brought them live, you can see how lively they are. And then some dead pinkies, and some casters.
Soon.
Yeah, great. And the red worms. Again, he had everything in a big tub, so like his whole tray was just full of tubs. It's no good, you don't need loads, just keep your bait nice and fresh, get the bait out that you need in little tubs. All these things
try
help.
to prevent me to overfeed the peg.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, we're just going to be managing our bait as we go today, so that's going to be super important. He's got some exciting new rods as well there. Look at that, he's got the Inspire set of rods. So that's the bait, all sorted. He's just creaming himself up. Glad I don't have to do that. We're going to go and have a look at the peg. Right, 4 minutes before the start. So we don't know what's going to happen today. It's going to be hard. What we're not going to do is, and this is maybe a little bit different to what you might normally do, is we're not going to feed all our lines at the start. So we're going to feed 18 metres and 32 metres. So you've set up 18, 32 and 50.
Yeah.
Now, I always like to pick what I think are my most likely two lines. So in the cooler months, it's 50 and 30. But when it's warm in the summer, it's 18 and 32. Now you might need the longer line later, but we don't know what's right. We don't know if worms are right. We don't know if groundbait's right. We ain't got a clue. So,
especially me.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So look, job number one is we're going to start off at 30 metres, and we think it's going to be tough. So what I want you to do is we need to draw some fish. So if you take like a medium hex mesh, like 30 grams, so you can be nice and accurate in this wind. I know. See your far bank markers, right? You need your 30 metre line to be a left mark.
That's medium or large?
Yeah, it's medium. All right, look at your far bank. Can you see the hay bales on the distance?
Yes.
That's your 30 metre.
Yes.
And see the big telegraph pole on the right? The massive standout one, the huge one.
That one. Yeah.
That's your 18 metres. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to wind your...
Wind it through my short
it's
line.
dead shallow, so you don't want to be winding or have any line for your short line. Now what I want you to do is you need to wet up a corner of your ground bait bowl so it's really, really sloppy and wet. I think that's a large, but that's fine. It doesn't matter, large is fine also.
Go large or go home.
Yeah, that's your policy, yeah. I want you to really, really wet up a corner so it's like pasty, all right? And in that, literally, I'm gonna put 2 or 3 pinkies.
That's all?
Yeah, we're gonna chuck 2 in at the start. So when they shout time, you're gonna chuck 2 in, the most accurate you've ever chucked.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, that try to chuck on the same spot as that.
Yeah, all that practice that we did. All right, and all we're doing is literally gonna see if we're on them. We don't know, like sometimes you might be on them. So it's pointless putting like 20 feederfuls in or anything like that because you might already be on them. So we don't know if worms are going to be any good yet, and we do know that worms attract the little fish. So I don't really want to do that. I want to give us the best chance of an early skimmer. Now, what might happen is every mum might sit here and not get a bite. And if that's the case, we've lost nothing, right?
Yeah.
But if there's an odd skimmer to catch, we want to catch one. And then on your short line, I want you to use the same feeder, right? And we're going to put 3 in with the most worms you can possibly get in it.
Okay.
Right? So on your short line, we're going to be nice and positive. We're going to try and attract.
So the short
that's
line,
a large one, yeah.
Yeah, but 20 grams is more than enough.
That's great, yeah, it's great. And I mean, like, so obviously you can't do that in your wet corner, but you'll be getting worms. You'll be putting them into your ground bait tub. There you go.
Oh.
All right.
Right.
So get that all wetted up in that corner first of all.
That's...
Have you got the right rod?
Yeah, I've got the right rod. I just need to wet it up with some water, isn't it?
Right, okay. I mean, I like to be ready at the start of the match. It's just me. I know that...
It's behind the box there.
Just,
that is the atomizer as well.
Always enjoy... No, you don't need that. Just literally pour that into a corner, into this, like, yeah, that's it. And make that all sloppy in there. You'll need more than that. Go on, really, really like pasty. That's it. And then like 2 or 3 pinkies. As accurate as you can.
Gosh.
Literally, as soon as it hits the water, you can start winding it back. You don't have to worry about it getting to the bottom or anything like that, all right? Perfect, perfect. That's it. That's 32, is it?
Yes.
Perfect. And then we're just going to put one more in like that. Yeah. Now other people are feeding their long lines. What you don't have to worry about here is people nicking your fish because it's so shallow that fish don't hold and stay. It's not what happens here. Only when it's prolific, which it's definitely not going to be today. It's definitely in the same egg cup. Well done. Good casting.
Now the short line.
Yeah. So now in the other corner of your ground bait, get a great big dollop of worms.
No, wrong one.
Is that your spare long line, is it? Well, I just look at the rods, and if the rod is shorter, I probably think that that's what it is.
Yeah, but you got much better eye than me.
Give over. I'm flipping 5 years younger than I am.
Only 5. I thought that you were older.
Yeah, I know. You said that the other day.
Yeah, you look much older than me.
Brilliant. Right, so in the other corner, now all we're trying to do on this close line is we want everything. We want roach, we want little skimmers, big bream. So basically we're gonna, this is a line where we're committing ourselves a little bit. So like this is like as many worms as you can get in.
Yeah.
Okay, you're happy with that? So obviously using that telegraph pole on the right now, totally away from where you are on your long line.
Two as well?
2 more, yeah. Now when you hit this next one, just hit it with your rod a bit further back.
Okay.
So what you don't want to be doing with your feeding casts is feeding at the limit of where your clip is. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You don't need
I'm
them
going
all.
to have an option too.
Yeah, you don't want them all on a 6pence anyway. You're just trying to put a little bit of worm out in a nice little area.
I know.
I didn't say anything. If
I
you
know.
know, well, make sure you do it on the next one then. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want, you know, if that's the case, you might have to put a little bit on your clip after all this. Because,
more?
yeah, one more, yeah. As many worms as you can get in it. So you've basically given yourself a nice little positive line. I mean, a large hex mesh isn't a big feeder, it's just a nice feeder.
Yeah.
You know, it's a medium size really in all reality. But all we're trying to do here is basically, if there's any roach or little skimmers or... Perfect.
Hook wise.
Yeah, it's
What?
a 14N20 for me every day of the week, and I like 012. I don't like, oh,
013.
sounds like that's what we've got. 013 sounds great. Is that 013 reflow power or AccuPower?
Reflow.
011 then, please.
Uh,
You've obviously got lots of those tied, haven't you? 14 to 011.
011, I have N40 size 18.
Right. So when I sent you a message saying make sure you've got tied up.
Did you? I lost that message.
100%. So you're telling me your smallest line diameter 14 is
No.
013 reflow power.
No, I have one 011.
What hook?
N40.
Okay, put an N40 on then to 011 for now for your first chuck.
That's size 18.
That's a, it's an 18. You just said it's 14.
No,
What's the
N40.
Okay, what's the finish line on a 14 you've got?
013.
Okay, we'll have to put that on, aren't we? And I'll have to tie you one. It's really important to remember that these fish are heavily fished for. And we know reflow power, as good as it is, mikes up a little bit thicker, don't we? We know that as a, you know, everybody knows that. That's why, you know, we have AccuPower in place. So the limit here is 50 centimeters. I always do 60.
Okay.
Because I'm not comfortable on the limits anyway, because often I like to change my feeder and sometimes you have a longer link, you know, so I just fish 60 and it's job done.
Yeah, no, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, so you can keep that medium feeder on for the first 3 or 4 chucks because we've only fed 2 mediums.
Yes.
And you want like, I like 2 or 3 inch long pieces of red worm and a fluoropinky as my starting hook bait. Something nice and visual.
You've got a very specific thing in your mind.
That's because I've been fishing here a lot.
Hook bait. So red worms and pinkies.
Yep. Basically like half a, depends how big your red worms are, but like half a red worm. I think it's a bait that can catch you a bream, and I think it's a bait that can catch you a 4-ounce skimmer. Yeah. So, you know, just... Yeah, it looks really good, yeah. So 2 or 3 pieces of red worm on there.
2.
Looks like 2, put 3 on. This is our first chuck. We want something nice and visual. Don't forget, if a roach nicks one of your pieces of red worm with the first tap, you'll want to wind it in, whereas if you get a couple of little taps, you can be confident that your bait's a little
Yes.
bit bigger.
Those red worms are really wiggly. Right.
Now,
What do I feed?
right, so literally 2 or 3 pinkies, and you're going to do a bit of a combination between the wet and the dry. So where the wet meets the dry, you're basically going to rub those two together and fill your feeder, so it's not going to come out on the surface, but it's nice and damp. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So our first two were like nice attractors. You know, clean your feeder off. We don't want any stuff coming off your feeder. This is our little bomb. We've done the attracting with our first two.
Yes.
This one is to catch one. We're trying to catch a fish now. So, like I say, don't want the ground bait too dry. So that's why really I want where the wet meets the dry.
Yeah.
You know, that looks a bit dry to me, but it doesn't matter. Go in with it and we'll take it from there as accurately as you can. Excellent. Don't move the feeder.
I did hear that before.
Now I notice, one thing I notice is that you fish with your rod quite straight. Like, your rod is straight, and that's fine. I don't have an issue with that, but personally I like to fish with my rod more 45 degrees or more, because you can watch the bite and develop the bite more, but it's a personal thing, so I don't have an issue. I'm just letting you know. And I want my tip as low to the water as possible. So literally like on the water surface, because it's really shallow here. Great, really good. Right, so Jamie 2 down has got a tiny little skimmer, like 2 ounce. So tighten your line right up, tighten it right up, right, like so it's you can't move the feeder, it's in the silt here. So make sure that's really tight, more tight, right tight, really tight. Make all your line dead straight. Now slacken it off. Once you're confident that you've straightened your line to your feeder. Because what you don't want to do is get a false read. Lovely, yeah, it's lovely. Really good. So 5 minutes on the stopwatch, off we go. And what we're looking for is any early indications or signs that, you know, there's an odd bigger fish. So as well as looking at my tip, it's actually difficult for me from down here, but you need to keep a lookout and see what sort of...
Any landing that's going on?
Yeah, early bites. I mean, we just seen, like I say, we just seen Jamie catch one 3 ounce, something like that. Same distance as you.
Yes.
So, you know. While you wait for that bite, I'm going to tie you an N20 to the right diameter line.
Thank you.
No worries.
Oh.
Careful, just need to pick it up. Don't forget, everything's straight. You've got braid direct.
That's a skin bob?
Yeah, take your time then, take your time. Every fish matters today, every single fish. Net everything.
Don't swing.
Nope. See, slightly better. Oh, try actually getting it in the net, that'd be great. What are you doing there? Just netting the water? Like a lovely scoop. Oh dear. Great start, great start. Done a good job of like attracting a fish in. So
quick
basic.
bite between 2 minutes.
So one more chuck with, we're looking for probably 3 or 4 chucks with that medium, just to begin with before we're dropping it down. But to begin with, we want to draw fish in, so basically exactly the same again, mate. That's why I like, the biggest fish you're likely to catch here is £3 and it's only going to nod about. You don't need such thick line, in my opinion.
Okay. Literally, I tied like 400 hooks for the wrong line.
Literally when you came to my house the other day, I told you. Same again, so mix those two ground baits together before you squeeze them in the feeder. You don't want like dry and wet, you're looking for like a medium. Clean it off, make sure there's no, you don't want any, literally, like I said, we've done the attracting, worked a treat, didn't it? Caught that fish. Oh, what's going on here?
I tied too big.
Yeah,
Knot.
you can make that piece of line a bit longer in future as well, mate. You want it at least 1 metre above your feeder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give you a bit more scope. Nice, going to get back in the water, aren't we? Right, same thing. Super tight with your line. Super tight. If you get one now, it'll just pull your rod in anyway, so don't.
Are we gonna have an eel line?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so. Although I have seen an odd bream caught there this year, which is ridiculous. Seen one caught the other 4 weeks ago when I qualified. Bloke 2 down from me, he had a flipping bream off his rod end. Couldn't believe it. It's a line that we need to do, you don't need to, you don't even take your bail arm off, you just literally hold the feeder in your hand. And
Yeah.
But I'm not into it. So if we're in dire straits and we need some comedy value, we might feed it. We'll be having one more chuck with this medium feeder and then you'll be putting a small feeder on.
Small window or small cage?
Small hex mesh cage to start with. So Jamie's had 3 little hand-sized skimmers, 2 to your left.
Don't crack off, that's the only one. Small 30 gram.
For everybody at home, last night I said, should I bring my feeders? No, I've got everything. Okay, no problem.
Did you bring your feeder?
No, did I, heck? I was going to. One of the important things to begin with is we don't need to be in and out all the time. 5 minutes is enough to give us a chance for bigger fish and not overly kill our swim. Oh, I see Jake winding in like a 1/4 ounce roach next door. That's what we're trying to avoid, you see. We don't really want to be winding them in for now.
Yeah, on Sunday I caught one of like that size.
Yeah, it's shocking.
The good thing is at Southfield that we are in one line, so I can literally see what's happening. Not much happening, to be fair.
Never anything. Don't forget, it's a patient match here. It's about giving yourself a chance all the time with what you're doing.
Right, 5 minutes up. One more cast with this feeder.
One more cast to that feeder. Change your hook length to one that isn't suitable for carp fishing.
You know, I thought that we're going to Harcroft today. So.
My granddad once gave me one of my favourite ever fishing tips.
Yes.
He said you can't catch a fish unless you're in the water. At the moment you're spending a lot of time out of the water.
Actually, he was right, I think.
He is very right. And it's something he said to me because you want to make sure everything's right, but at the same time, you can't catch one if you're not in the water.
Yeah.
I think he said it because I was most of the time running around on the bank. But he's
At least I don't do that.
That's good advice. The time out of the water needs to be optimised.
Can you imagine me running up and down on the water?
No.
Right. 5 minutes start.
So I'm just watching, like, this is your third cast and 2 baiting casts.
Yes.
And I reckon Jamie Harrison has chucked in 10 times. Now he's missed his last couple of bites. And Jake next year's chucked in 8 or 9 times as well. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think this early doors, there's a lot of these little tiny fish looking for activity. So we gave it our 2 little soft ones without a lot of bait. And your skimmer was just a little bit chunkier. They're the ones with, if we catch a small fish, that's sort of like the minimum we want to catch on this line. On this line, and maybe at 18 metres. Well, there you go. Look, a little indication again. See that? But there's no bait there. It's like 10 pinkies have been fed. It's nothing. And hopefully a lot of them have been eaten because we don't really want to attract any of these little fish at the moment.
Yes. I was catching lots of tiny ones on Sunday.
Mm.
But I've had much more.
I think particularly here, you're sort of like, you're just trying to find out what you've got in front of you to begin with. And if you can be a bit of a busy fool and chucking in and out and building your peg up with worm or casters or whatever it might be. So we're going for a 1 hour update. It's been really interesting, Zsolt, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Tell them what's happening.
I think we're doing well, isn't it? I missed one bite.
Is that how you're categorising doing well?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, because it's only one bite on this.
I'm happy with that. So
We had a few skimmers.
yeah, how we've started is we started without any worms, and we've had, I think we had 3 skimmers, and then we introduced a little bit into the peg, didn't we?
Yep.
And we had an immediate response with 2 skimmers, but quickly wanted you to ease off after that because we do not want loads of like little tiny roach there or little fish, because there's been a lot of busy anglers so far, down to your left and down to your right, but busy as in not catching a great deal because there's a lot of tiny little fish. Little friend on your keep net.
We didn't really have a tiny fish problem yet.
We haven't had any tiny fish problems. Like I say, you just had 1 bite that you've missed, which is good for little skimmer fishing. And you got what, 6 skimmers?
Yes, I think
So I would say you've got a pound and a half. Is that fair?
Yeah, something between a pound and a half.
Okay. Which is about par for the course. I haven't seen any big bream caught, have you?
No, maybe down like 10 pegs away from me.
Maybe.
Wasn't like big, like something I would say between 1 and 2 pounds.
Okay. Well, we're now on the smaller feeder. We're still on 33 metres, and more importantly, we have topped up this short line, which I would like you to do again after this cast.
Okay.
So we need another short line top up after this cast. Yeah, just some worms, yeah. And then that'll keep that going, because I think what we'll probably do is have 3 or 4 more casts here, and then we'll have a little look on that short line, you see.
Okay.
So we need to be thinking, I always like try to be thinking like 15 to 30 minutes ahead of myself. Now it might be that we get a little run on this line and we don't need to go short, but we haven't got that option if we haven't topped it up. So let's keep it topped up. Put that in.
I always thought that at Southfield the short line is like end of the match.
No, I think there's a chance you could go on it and get some bites. I do from little skimmers, maybe odd roach, just winding something back. So we'll have a look at it when we go. But at the moment we're just sticking with that small hex mesh, the one that Zolt's brought with him, and see how it goes. 5 minute chuck still, Zolt. When have you? What are your bite times? Tell people what your bite times have been.
Bite times is 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Between 2 minutes.
Yeah.
One was like 4.5 minutes, but the rest of them was everything was between 2 minutes.
Trouble is, it makes you think you should chuck in every 2 to 3 minutes when that's the case. But what tends to happen is, a lot of the time, you can end up missing or overdoing it on your peg. So that's no good. Obviously, we need to be careful of that, and we don't want that to happen. So it's good, because at the moment I don't feel like you've got a busy peg. I feel like you can sit with your hook on.
Probably I would overcooked already.
So just nice and steady. Yeah, we've got 6. We're doing all right. I would say 2 pound is probably winning this zone at the moment. So a solid start. I literally just turned the camera off, and straight away it's gone round, and this is a better one. Not massive.
Definitely an angry one.
Yeah, just take your time. This is this could be a 12 ounce to a pound fish, I'm hoping. And our peg has just sort of quietened down a bit. Really happy with how that's been managed so far, because we haven't had the chaos, which is so important. There's just so many little tiny roach in here, and you just want to be able to fish nice. Change the hook bait a little bit, so there you go, slightly better one. Maybe 12 odds. Well, you made that look dramatic. Well done, mate. Excellent.
10, 12 ones?
Okay, brilliant. So you've got £2 now.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, you've got £2, so that's good. So I feel like we're on the right track. Certainly early doors. Certainly this place can definitely slow up in the middle of the match. So if we can get £2 to £4 to begin with, we're on the right track, I think. So good, a solid start. Right, I've just been for a recce to see what's being caught. Tell me how you're doing.
Since you left,
Yep.
I caught 3 skimmers, 2 like a decent size and 1 tiny one.
Okay. £3?
Somewhere between 2.5, 3, 2.5 for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, basically, I've just been for a walk up the match length, and there's absolutely nothing being caught.
Really?
It's rock hard. The bottom section, first zone, Glenn Lawrence has got about £8. He's a standout weight there.
Okay.
And then in your zone, I don't know of anyone with more than £3, but obviously I've not asked everybody.
Yeah.
I keep asking like every sort of 4th or 5th person, and they tell me what's happening either side, and it sounds to me like it's like 6 peckers, 5 peckers. So
actually we're doing well.
No, we're doing well, and we need to touch a little bit on what we've been doing. So I'm going to come in close again. So basically, I've got Zsolt working his lines using a little bit of his worm that he chopped up at the start, and then using it in his ground bait. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them what we've been doing in terms of the lines.
turns on the lights, like changing between the 32. Ooh. Come on.
It's a jabby bite, wasn't it?
I had one weird liner, like went like nearly proper and after slack line.
So we came in short.
We
to
came
the
in
18
short.
metre line, which is, we're using this new 10.8 Inspire rod. I can get the focus, which is very much like the old Ascensions, but with an upgraded carbon and minima guides. Very, very, very nice rod. There you go, got one on now. Nice and steady again, nice and steady. Every fish counts today. Came in, caught 2, maybe 3 skimmers on that 18 metre line.
Lost it.
Lost it.
Oh, it's a tiny one. Tiny one.
And hey, they all count. They all count today, mate, let me tell you now. Right, that one counts less than others, but it still counts. But then gone back out long, because long had faded. And I think I'm right in saying you've stayed there at the moment?
I was gonna say that I would feed now and have a look.
Have you
at
fed that short line, or have you left it the whole time?
I left it.
Oh. Okay, so one of the things that I reminded of is if you are going to fish 2 lines, you've got to keep in touch with them. So maybe like if you do get a little run on a line, I would also put some bait in on this line, Zsolt. So
Okay.
you're going to leave it, so give it one before you come off it. Otherwise, you're sort of 5 minutes behind, aren't you? So it's just worth it. And again, he's only got a little feeder on because you just don't need a lot today. But there's been a breeze on. There's been a breeze on the water the whole time. So I feel like there is little skimmers to go at. It's quite an interesting match actually, because 20 little skimmers won't be far away because there's a definite lack of bream. Up at the top zone, up the other end, there is an angler with 3 bream, but that's like, I don't know of anyone else with 1. So that angler's obviously sat on a little pod and doing it right, I'm sure, to catch his 3. So this is what we did earlier, so we can now watch this as we go on the close line. So he's obviously put one in there at 32 metres, and now just going to go in on this short line, which we did the same. We put one on it before we came off it, but it's probably been a good 30 minutes now, has it?
25 minutes.
Oh, okay, 25 minutes. That's about right then. That's all right. As long as we're not leaving it too long, we're just trying to keep things rotating. And we've just got him on this. So his rig here is, as I like to fish, he's got one of our soft links on there. Nice bit of fluorocarbon, then his hook length. 010 braid on your reel?
08 and
08.
that's all. That's all.
Look how squiggly and attractive his red nose are.
That's
really good.
That's 08 direct. On the other 2 rods, I put shot leader with our bait up braid.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. But it's a day for rotating things and keeping things going, so it'll be interesting. Let's have a little live chuck on this short line now, because I think with a little rest there's a good chance this could go again. It's a line that I think a lot of people are ignoring today, because you can just see here there's a nice breeze on the water. The water's warm, the fish are active, you don't really need to be miles out. So this short line, when I asked you to chuck on it, mate, you didn't chuck on it with lots of confidence.
No, I didn't, because usually for some reason for me the short line is never work here at Southfield.
We've got to just keep in touch with it, haven't we? So see that in there. So same principle. See if we can get in on your tip, mate. Just trying to tighten everything up. And then just slacken it off. You like to fish your rod quite straight, I did say. Yeah, that's nice. It's each to their own with that.
That's a bad influence from Desmond.
I like fishing like that in commercials. That's how I like to fish. But personally, I'm a fan of a little bit more angle, but that's fine. Really light tip in there, haven't you? Like the 0.75 of the ounce. And these Inspire tips, again, like the old Ascensions, they're nice and soft. They're a glass carbon composite all the way through, so everything shows up. What we don't want to do now is chuck in here and see lots of little tiny rattles. You know, we almost want the tip to sit.
We didn't really have problem with the tiny fish today.
No, but the only issue we did have is when we came in short, we were busy. And I said to her, I feel like this short line, I don't think what you want to be doing is being just sort of sitting and waiting. I feel like what you want to be doing on this line is having like 3-minute chucks.
Yeah.
Because we're just trying to nick 1 or 2. We're trying to see if there's anything there. But when we did those 3-minute chucks, it just made it go whappy, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it just went whappy again, and that was because obviously we were putting a little bit of worm in, not loads of worm. We were putting a little bit of worm in, but because he was chucking every 3 minutes, not every 5 minutes, within what, 3 chucks, you started getting roach bites and indications, didn't you?
Yeah, on the 3rd chuck I started to have the tiny wiggles.
So you can see, let's just have a little look in his feeder box. So at Southfield, this is me, the short link, 55, it's shallow, the bites are very violent, you don't need the longer link. I've been asked a bit about this. The longer link is good for deeper water, and when you need to create a bit more of an angle between your feeder, and also it's very good for if there's lots of little fish. So if you're fishing for like small skimmers and roach where they're rattly, again the longer link gives a bit more forgiveness. So, but at Southfield, it's a 55, 100% all the way, and this is classic of my feeder box as well. What Zsolt's got here, like the little windows, the hex meshes. You just don't need anything else here. These are the only feeders you need. Solid windows, cage windows and hex mesh. You can do everything with that at this venue with those feeders. So we've got an alarm problem with one of the cars.
Oh, that's the 3rd time, I think.
Yeah. I reckon it's somebody's signal to wind in all the time, I reckon.
A bit loud for stopwatch.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Well, we're going to give it 5 3-minute chucks here, nice and busy, see if this goes round again. And if it doesn't, we've rested that longer line and just given those little skimmers a chance to gather again on a little bit of bait, because I'll tell you now, every single one counts today. I like it when it's like this. You feel like you can make a bite every chuck, but it might just be a small fish. So we haven't needed to chuck it out at 55. I know that much. So that's the main thing. Is that 3 minutes, mate?
Yep.
So same again. Let's just watch him load his feeder. Right. So just to make sure he's doing it right. Hook bait good.
You don't have much confidence on me,
Yeah,
aren't
hook
you?
bait looks good. Yeah, great. I have loads of confidence, mate. It's the first time I've looked at your
Actually,
loading
true.
your feeder. Right. So he's put a bit of worm in there. He's just going to nip that in that cage. Just setting the trap. Lovely. Really good, mate. Really good. Awesome. All right, well, let's see how these 5 chucks go, see if we can get a bit of action. Clean your feeder off, otherwise this will be being used to beat you. There's more worms on me than there is in the water.
Yeah, try to not overcook it, so I rather leave it on you than put in the water.
Right, I reckon you might be up to £5.
You are very optimistic today.
I just feel like you've had a nice little run of these. So we've dropped on this 18-metre line, and it's really interesting. It's little skimmer fishing, which I really like. Now, Dave Clarkson on your right just had a big bream.
Yes.
Like a 3-pounder. I reckon he's got £5 as well. And then elsewhere, I don't know of anything else. There was a rumour that somebody had some bream. I haven't seen it. Jamie Harrison's caught a few little skimmers, 2 to your left. I reckon you're nip and tuck with him. So I think you're right in it. And we've just had this little run short that's probably thrown you, what, 5 skimmers?
Yeah, and a couple of roach.
So I think, you know, we start getting little indications. So change to a tiny piece of worm, like a little bit of dendrobina, because the red worm was just getting a bit haggard by the like odd roach and that were there. The roach seem to have gone again now, which is good. And I think you've got a chance of a big one there. I think you've got as much chance of a big one there as you have anywhere. I think if it doesn't go this chuck, which it might do, because I feel like there has been fish in your peg, but I feel like a double chuck could be good. So like, by that I mean fill it with worms and ground bait, chuck it in, let it hit the bottom and just wind it straight back in and then chuck it back in again, and we'll have a 5-minute chuck. But we've had 2 chucks, so we know we've put a little bit of bait in there. And maybe like 3 full red worms or 2 full red worms and a pinky.
Put a bigger bunch of red worms for.
Yeah, just if it's gone a little bit quiet. See, that I think Dave's playing another one. Well, that's interesting because there's been no bream caught whatsoever. Now you have set your 30-metre line up, and that's where Dave's catching. So if you want to have a chuck out, I always think if you see bream caught near you, there's a great chance of you getting one, and you have been setting that up. So I think it's worthwhile, especially with this being quiet. I'd put at the end of this chuck 2 rich bait feeders in.
Yeah.
Just a little feeder. Just put 2 in, and then let's have like 3 5-minute chucks on your long line. See if we can catch a bream. Because if this is a bream, it's quite a bit to catch up. You see, if it's a 3-pounder, you need some decent fish yourself.
Yes.
Well, you think you do, but you're doing all right. You're doing all right. I mean, there hasn't been any bream caught, and the fact that Dave's now got his second is crazy. You know, it just goes to show how, you know, 2 for 1 person is, you know, when there's, I ain't seen one. So it might just be, you know, conditions are good now, wind's blowing. I think you've got a chance, you know, you've probably got a chance of catching one short, to be fair, because it's gone quiet.
Yeah, that's a bream.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one, that is. What is a good one, yeah. Massive difference, that is. 2 big bream like that, it's a massive difference. 2 bream for 1 person is what can change everything. But you've been setting that line up out there. I'd be really confident in getting one out there. You know, we haven't ignored it, we've not been ignoring it. So 2 in here, wind it straight back in. Not be wasting any time now. We're in the critical bit of time now as well. You know, we're right towards the last hour of the match. So, you know, this is the chance when we need to. We could catch 2 bream now, easy, to cater to double figures and qualification. So, we've done all the hard work. Now it's a chance of making it happen for ourselves.
Let's hope the best.
You don't need to put a bait on, get it in the water. 2 chucks short.
That's gonna be the second chuck.
What, on your short line or?
Yeah, I fed one and now I'm gonna fish on.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, I was saying you could have a chuck long if you wanted to. If Dave's caught one long.
You reckon should I go?
I do, yeah. Put that bait in short. I'll tell you what. No, go for it. You put the hook bait on. Go for it. Dave's fishing about 25 metres, I reckon.
Yes, he's fishing somewhere between my two lines.
He is, yeah, 28 metres maybe. You've got 5 minutes on this, and then you can put one more in and go back along. That's what I think. I think you've got a great chance of catching one there, Zsolt. I really do.
Even on the short line?
Yeah, no, particularly on the short line. That's where I think them big uns live. This time of year. He's on, he is. Just a skimmer?
Yeah, but better skimmer. That's why I love this rod.
Yeah, really forgiving when you get those lunges. Take your time. See how quickly we caught that off the back of the double chug. Just how's your luck, you know. It's not a 3-pounder, but we'll take him. We'll take him.
10 of these and I'm fine.
Yeah. Same again. Big hook bait. Chuck it straight back in. What's been really interesting today is the amount of skimmers that has been caught. You know, there's clearly a lot of skimmers in the res. I think it's a brilliant fishing match at the moment. You know, there's bites for everybody. It's not blanks.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting skimmer fishing.
And
this
really matters that what you're doing and when you're doing.
Oh, you know, how much have I asked you to mix it up today with what you're doing? Like loads. I think it's so important.
Nice and clean feeder before you told me off again.
Perfect. Yeah, great stuff, mate.
And that bite was between 2 minutes again.
Oh, it was really quick, that bite was. And I think you've got a chance to catch one at 32 when you go out there as well. Tell me how long's left in the match. Finishes at 4. What time is it now?
It's going to be 3 o'clock in 5 minutes.
Right, okay, so we're entering in the last hour, which is where it all happens at Southfield. 2:30 onwards, and you've been getting bites.
And we both know that in Southfield the last hour can change a lot.
Yeah, well, it has for Dave. Dave's just had £7 in 2 bites.
Yeah.
He only just caught that other bream 10 minutes before he's had that one. So he's
And
gone
he
from
just,
having £2
he's
to
just
£9.
having another one.
Right, there you go. Very interesting. That's a massive, I mean, that's a game changer. Yeah, Zsolt. You watch your tip, I'll watch the other anglers. How
Okay.
about that? Is that all right?
I lost it.
You were too aggressive there when you picked up into it. Don't worry about anybody else.
Lee, keep going on short or should...
Yeah, just go around every chuck. There's as much chance of you catching a bream there as there is on your other line. What a big fish they are.
I don't like it when you say it
No,
like that.
if something like that happens, there's nothing you can do about it. He's just had £10 in 3 fish in 15 minutes. But you've just had bites straight away there both times. And your next chuck could be a big one. I think, let's see, let's chuck this one in here. Remember what I said about when you're picking up on those skimmers as well, just pick up. James just had one as well.
Yeah.
Right, so this, you've got one chuck here, and then we're going back out long because I ain't seen any bream, and James just had a bream, and Dave Clarkson's had 2. So
He had 3.
3, sorry, yeah, sorry. Pay attention to your tips. I think there's a great chance of it going straight away. They're feeding. They're really feeding.
Yeah.
So when you go back out, you need to put the small hex mesh on and be nice and positive because the fish are starting to feed. Can't believe that hasn't gone properly. That looked on.
It did look like it's gonna go.
Oh, I just thought it was on. Picked it up and spat it out. You've got those small skimmers there at the moment, which is nice, but we want a bream. We need some bream, but it's fishing well.
We need it.
Yeah, he's on.
No.
Wow, there's a lot of fish there.
Oh yeah, on.
I thought he was on. I couldn't see how he weren't on. Huh.
Perch.
Right, out long. The fish are feeding, it's towing, it's windy. So we're entering the last hour. What we've got to do now is be aggressive because the fish are feeding. So we're going long.
Yep.
Let's see what happens.
Hopefully a bream gonna happen.
Right, the match is finished, but we had a few technical problems, Zsolt.
Yep.
Fishing and filming together, I appreciate, mate. That's difficult, isn't it?
It was a red hot day,
Yeah,
so
it was red hot. So the cameras got too hot. We lost the last little bit from the competition. So what we thought we'd do is a nice summary for you on how the last little bit finished, and as well how you finished up, because I think you were pleasantly surprised, weren't you, with what weight you had in the end?
Yeah, I was really surprised. It's fair to say that I was a bit unlucky that we couldn't manage to get any bream.
Really unlucky. So the final results were Dave Clarkson on Zsolt's right actually was the qualifying angler for the Feeder King final. Well done, Dave. And he had 13 pound. Dave had a little golden period where he literally caught 2 bream in 2 casts. And then he caught another 2 bream in 2 casts, didn't he? Did he have 4 bream in the end?
Three or four bream. It's literally in
I think he had 3. I think he had 3 bream.
In 15 minutes, he had 3 bream. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Out of nowhere. And Jake, to Zsolt's left, had 2 right at the end as well. And then there was another one caught further down. So I felt you were really unlucky because you actually still ended up beating Jake on your left, and you had £9.12.
Yeah.
So you were only a bream behind Dave in qualifying. So I think that you really fished a great match, mate. Like, obviously, as we were working through it, you caught by far the most of these other skimmers, and all you needed was that little visit of luck, which at Southfield with those big bream, it plays a big part, the luck.
Yeah.
So how I tried to set you up throughout the day was always to be like, let's keep putting something in the net, which means if you get your little visit, if you catch 2 bream, you win the match by a mile. It looks amazing because you have 15, 16 pound and everyone thinks, wow, Zsolt's incredible. But you just didn't. So a lot of the time you're telling me you come here, you catch a bream or 2, but not everything else. So, you know, how did you feel about it?
I definitely learned a lot during the day. It's like small bits and bobs which you wouldn't think it makes difference, but it does make a huge difference. Like when you were telling me off that clean up your feeder, if you're gonna cast one more time like that, I'm gonna leave you here alone, and that sort of things. Like because it's fair to say it's no magic bait or magic ground bait or magic method. Is that small bits all together, which makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it certainly does. And like things like that, you've pointed out to clean the feeder. Southfield's this deep. So if you have like little bits on your feeder, but you're trying to draw the fish down on that cast, then you don't want little bits dropping off your feeder. Now on another cast, I might say, no, you want it to be like that. You want the cloud, you want the attraction. So I always think in very deep lakes, just to take that as an example, if you don't clean off your feed and you chuck it in and a few bits break off 20 foot above, it makes no difference.
Yeah.
It's totally away from what you're doing. But Southfield, where it's shallow, it's actually, some people think, well, it doesn't matter, but it does, because we're trying to catch the fish here.
It does. It showed a clear difference because everywhere around us, everyone had a problem with the small fish. We didn't have a problem with the small fish. I never had that sort of bites. I always had a clean, positive bites from skimmers or decent roach. But I never had that nuanced small roach.
Well, I felt what we did really well throughout the day was we managed the peg. So your peg was well managed at all times, and you gave yourself a chance at the end for pushing on for the bigger fish. So I think you had one slightly bigger one, right, off the camera. I think you had one about a pound, didn't you? Just towards the end, which was your biggest fish. You didn't get that big kicker on. So you had a fantastic net of fish and a good result. I felt you did really well. I don't know what Des is talking about. You are definitely coachable, my friend. That is no concerns whatsoever.
Should we do another episode maybe next year?
No, I can't stomach another one of them. I mean, yeah, we'll go for that. That sounds absolutely great. Listen, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We obviously, we've got
I loved it.
We've got a great relationship, so it's great for us to go out there and do something that you guys can see. Hopefully it makes you a better angler. It even helps me. I came away, my head was spinning on loads of different things that we did throughout the day. So,
Definitely, it was a lovely day fishing, and it's fair to say I never had that many bites at Southfield.
Yes, mission accomplished.
And honestly, I never had that many bites at Southfield. So.
Good.
Yeah, I did learn a lot.
Good. Well, I think with that in mind, maybe we'll take it on and try another one next year. Maybe like a method feeder match or something. We'll go and do something like that.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. All right, see you later.
Thank you for watching, guys.